Welcome back to Games to Remember, where we profile some of the biggest contests in Highmark Stadium history. I'm Bills play-by-play man Chris Brown, and in this episode, we profile one of the biggest individual playoff performances in Bills history. Joining us is Bills Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas to take us through some of the maybe unknown elements of that AFC title game in January 1994. Thurman, good to have you with us.
Nice to be
here. Appreciate
here.
the time. Just to refresh everyone's memory, the 1993 season saw you undertake your heaviest workload in a single season in your career. Career high 355 carries, career high total touch count of 403, and just over 1,700 total yards from scrimmage. How did you feel body-wise going into that postseason knowing this was your sixth straight season of playoff football?
Oh, man.
Do you remember how you felt like at the end of the regular season?
I think at that time, because I had my workload increase like every single year.
Yeah.
And I think that was the highest of my workload of my career. And so, yeah, you start to feel it. And even though I was maybe...
That's January 94. So
January 94.
So you're how old? 30?
No, I'm not 30.
Not 30 yet.
No, not 30 yet. Maybe 27, 28.
Okay. Well, that's, oh, yeah.
26, 27.
Good.
I mean, I was feeling okay, but, you know, I as a player, you don't think like how my body's feeling or whatever. Like, I got a game to play.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a game to play. So, you know, as I look back, I'm like, wow, 355 carries is a lot.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Not many guys get that kind of work nowadays.
No, it might be 2 seasons for somebody.
Yeah, right. Your team beats the Raiders in the divisional playoff the week before here at home, 29-23. Chiefs are up next in the AFC Championship game. You lost to Kansas City on Thanksgiving weekend earlier that season, 23-7. Do you remember any bulletin board material that week from the Chiefs, who probably desperately wanted to knock you off, having seen you go to the last 3 Super Bowls?
I don't remember anything.
Nothing sticks out.
Nothing sticks out. Is that, you know, I know that we've, every time we've played there, we've kind of struggled.
Right, but this one was here, so that was a big deal.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the regular season. The regular season game, yeah, was there. So, no, I don't remember anything. You know, I don't remember. Was there something that happened?
I didn't see anything when I did some digging, so I was just curious if you had recalled anything.
No,
because we know sometimes you would take things personally. Just like Michael Jordan.
Like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
See, I think I was saying that before Michael Jordan.
You were saying it before Mike.
I'm taking this personally.
Yeah. It took a bit for both offenses to find a rhythm in this game. Your offense didn't score until your 3rd possession, and it seemed like the Chiefs' defense was keying on you early specifically, but you end up capping that 3rd drive, 12-yard touchdown run on a 3rd and 8. It looked like they had a blitz on, so a run play seemed to be the perfect beater for that, because they had extra defenders on the edge of the formation and nobody in the middle at the 2nd level. Do you remember how that hole opened up on that 12-yard run?
Well, actually, I remember how we started to really get going, because I think Jim threw a long pass to Andre Reed down the left sideline, and that kind of like was
loosened them up,
and it was like the biggest play of the game that we had on offense so far. And so I think that kind of loosened it up, and I think, like you said, when they ran a blitz, it was an opening. It was an opening, and it wasn't a counter play or anything. It was just basically just run behind Jimmy Richter. Yeah, and it just opened up. Yeah. And so the safety came up on my right side from the tunnel and just took a bad angle. It was barely got me, and I was in the end zone.
So the Chiefs come back with 2 straight field goal drives after Russell Copeland fumbled a kickoff to give the ball right back to Kansas City at the Buffalo 24.
Benny Thompson.
That makes it 7-6 at the end of the 1st quarter. On the ensuing possession, your offense goes 81 yards, 9 plays on a touchdown drive. 1st and 10 from the Buffalo 41. You get great blocking on what I believe was a counter run play, which was kind of a trademark for you guys back then. And your line gave you a tunnel to run through, like 33 yards to the Chiefs' 25. Was the game plan to kind of run at them downhill more than outside, or?
It was kind of, I think it was kind of a little bit of both.
Okay.
And we knew at a certain time that, like, if Derek Thomas was on the left side, we were running at him. We weren't running away from him. Because, Derek
Which is what you do against pass rushers
It's what
a
you
lot,
do
right?
against pass rushers. And he was a smaller guy. He was
yeah.
only like maybe 6'3", about 235, maybe 240.
Yeah.
Kind of around Cornea's size.
Yeah.
But probably a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And so, and we did the same thing with Jason Taylor when he played with Miami. Light guy playing defensive end. Let's put a 300-pound guy on him. And so, in that situation, Will Wolford, Jimmy Richter, blocked down. I think Pete Metzelaars might have been blocking down on Derek Thomas, and it was a play that they defended very well, but there was a seam there.
Okay.
And I found the seam and
Yeah.
hit it up and took it back to the right side for
33
like
yards.
you said, 33-yard gain,
Yeah.
and I think that kind of opened it up. I think I came out the game for
Yes, you did.
I came out the game for maybe one
Yeah.
or two plays.
Kenny Davis came in for
And
a play, and he ripped
like
off
10
a
yards.
15-yarder.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
And Marty Schottenheimer called timeout after those 2 run plays. He was
Yeah.
trying to stop the momentum there. It was kind of like, it looked like a basketball
timeout, right.
How were you feeling at this point about your team's run game, especially seeing the opposing head coach on the other sideline calling timeout to stop the bleeding?
Yeah, I think that was really a special part in the game, our game plan that we were doing, and to run against a very physical up front team like the Kansas City Chiefs were.
Yeah.
Even with Derek Thomas,
Neil
you had
Smith.
Neil Smith on the side, Tracy Simeon I think was back there, playing linebacker. So it was, and they had not been giving up a lot of yards rushing throughout the entire
Saliamua,
year.
right?
Dan Saliamua was there, and so we just felt like, our guys were better than their defensive guys, and the number one factor probably, we were at home.
Yeah. Jim gets the offense down to the 3-yard line on an 11-yard pass to Billy Brooks, and then quick snaps the next play as soon as you're lined up.
Yeah.
You guys catch Kansas City's defense
they're not
before
even.
they're set, and you take a handoff. Like, you walk
Yeah.
into the end zone off Pete Metzelaar's rear end, like untouched.
Yeah, it was, we weren't running like the no huddle like we used to run it, but we were noticing that they were coming on and off the field, and we were just kind of letting them do it or whatever, and we just caught them with a quick snap. And like I say, that play is supposed to go right between Kent Hull and who was the guard then? Was it Glenn Parker or John Davis? It was John Davis. It was supposed to go right between them two guys right there, but they collapsed everything down, and I just walked in the end zone.
Yeah.
It was probably the easiest touchdown I ever had in my life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a walk. It was
you
actually
didn't-
a
nobody
walk.
touched you.
Nobody touched me. Yeah, the first person I saw was the ref, and I threw him the ball. That was it. Yeah.
So the first half still has 12 minutes left, and
Yeah.
you've already got 71 yards on 11 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You're up 14-6. How confident are you feeling at this point? Because this is a team that's been there and
Yeah.
done that in the AFC title game, or is there too much game left to play here?
Well, there's too much game to be left to be played. Considering they had Joe Montana.
Right.
They had Joe Montana, so you can never count him out. But I can remember a snippet from Bob Trumpy saying on after the touchdowns, him saying and it really hit me afterwards. And even when I watched it, they was like he said, the Bills, how come the Bills can't get a game like this from Thurman in the Super Bowl?
Ooh.
Like a quick, 11 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns, they can't get that type of start in the Super Bowl since, I guess, the first one. And so, I remember Bob Trump and him saying that, and I was like, it was after the fact, but just him saying that kind of years later, man, why couldn't I get off to a better start?
He had a big one in 25.
Yeah,
he had over 130 yards rushing, I think.
And I think that was because, after that one, the next 2 weren't really anything, you know, and so.
And you guys fell behind, so you couldn't really run the ball that
Couldn't
much.
really run the ball. So I think that was what he was saying. But, we felt like, this is, but it's not over. It's not over. They still have Joe Montana, they're Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be here. Marcus Allen. They still got stars
Hall of
that
Famers.
could, Hall of Famers that could, very easily turn the game around.
Yeah. Unfortunately for them, they can't respond. They go 3 and out on the next possession.
Yeah.
Your offense goes right back to handing you the ball because, you're up 8 points. Let's just keep doing it. You had runs of 9, 10, and 12 yards on the next drive. Kansas City's defense was getting moved, off the line of scrimmage. I mean, I know you already talked about it, but you were rolling up yards, so many that after those 3 runs, you come off the field, you take a break. You remember how loud the crowd was as you were coming to the sideline for your efforts? Because even the fans were feeling how well you were running the ball early, and they were pretty stoked.
Yeah, you know what? I can always remember, in certain games, the first time that I actually heard of it was, and we're going back to the first year when we played the Raiders and beat them in the AFC Championship
51-3, yeah.
51-3. Eli took me off the field, and Kenny was coming on, gave me a hug, and as I was running off, I can remember the crowd. And they were they were showing the highlights of the run, but you can hear the crowd in the background as I'm running off the field, giving me a standing ovation. That was cool. And that was kind of the second one that had happened like that. And well, we know what we're doing today. The crowd knew what we're doing. So we might not see a lot of gym today. We might see a lot of running the football. Yeah.
Drive ends ultimately in a field goal. Now you're up 17-6. From what I understood, Jim Kelly checked a lot of calls, 2 run plays at the line of scrimmage based on what the defense was showing him, and it worked, obviously, in this game.
Yeah.
But did you think it would work that well after Kansas City's defense the week before held the Oilers to less than 40 yards rushing?
Yeah, we were better than the Oilers.
Yeah.
We were better than the Oilers.
So the film didn't bother you?
No, the film
that.
didn't bother us watching that. Yeah, we felt like, our guys were stoked.
Your O-line was a good O-line.
Our O-line was a really good offensive line, throughout those years of going to the Super Bowl. But this game here, we felt like we can handle them very, very well.
Okay, so by the time your work in the first half is over, you've already rolled up 129 yards on 20 carries. 20 carries at halftime.
That's a lot.
And at times, I really couldn't tell who was more winded, the Chiefs defense or you, because your offense – maybe not the heyday of the no huddle, but you were still going fast, and you're ripping off long runs, and you're back in the huddle again, and then you're ripping off another one. Do you remember other games where you had 20 carries and a half when you were going that fast?
No, I don't remember.
Because you're probably subbing yourself out.
Probably, it probably was, and because I can remember a lot of plays where we were running, we were getting off 7, 8, 9, 10 yards here, and I'm coming back to this huddle, not the huddle, but actually to my spot, and just looking at where the ball was spotted and just getting in my stance and just taking a deep breath. And Jim would give it to me again, and I would do I did that a couple of times where I just, hey, look, I'm just going forward. I'm just going straight. And the holes were there.
So they made it easy for you up front.
Yeah.
All right, so up 20-6 on the Chiefs. Joe Montana finds some success on a 2-minute drill drive at the end of the half. But on 2nd and goal from the 5, his pass intended for Kimball Anders bounces off of Anders' hands right to Henry Jones for the pick. And you go to the locker room at halftime up 2 touchdowns. What's the halftime locker room like? Confident that you guys are just going to put this thing to bed? Or
I think it was.
Was there too much respect for Montana and Marcus Allen?
I think there were respect for Marcus Allen, Marty Schottenheimer, and Joe Montana. But, I think at that point we were on a roll.
Yeah.
We were on a roll,
Felt
feeling
good.
really good about what was going on, going into halftime.
Game plan's going according to form.
Game plan's going according to form. We're not changing anything. We're going to continue to run the ball right at them and do counters and do all these type of screen plays or whatever. And, we didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Very rarely of the years we went to the Super Bowl did we change anything because – we could actually run the ball. If that wasn't working, we'd actually throw the ball too. So
you just out-executed.
We just
people.
out-executed people, and it was, it was a perfect offense.
All right, so things change because nobody was expecting this. But early in the third quarter, Joe Montana gets hit as he throws on a 3rd and 14 by 3 different Bills defenders. Phil Hansen got him by the ankles. Bruce came from Montana's left, hit him across the body, and as that happened, Jeff Wright's helmet hits the back of Montana's head. And he's concussed and out of the game. He might have been out on the field for a little bit there before he came around. Did that kind of just seal it for your team that the Chiefs were done pretty much there?
I think it did for a little while, but I think it was Dave Craig came into the game and took him down on a scoring, right?
Yeah, touchdown drive.
So it's
finished with a Marcus Allen 1-yard run.
Yeah.
But when your offense got back out on the field, you and Kenny Davis just kept running. How unstoppable did you guys feel in this game? Were you and Kenny talking about it? This is like the party of the Red Sea out here.
Yeah, I wasn't really talking because I was kind of exhausted.
Yeah, you were a little winded.
I was a little winded. So it was a great day. And I take my hat off to Kenny Davis. I mean, without him being here, those 4 years of where my load management increased, he was the perfect backup for it. Perfect backup for it. Now, he wasn't going to split out and catch a ball 50 yards down the field,
Right.
but he can run 50 yards down the field,
yeah.
and nobody can catch him on the field. So he was a perfect backup for me, and really kind of extended my career.
Yeah.
Because if I'm taking all those punishments, all those carries that he has, then my body is worn out when I'm 27, 28 years old. So thank God he was on our team.
On the final touchdown drive, you go 6 carries for 41 yards, including the 3-yard touchdown run, another walk-in. I know you're tired at this point, but could you see how exhausted the Chiefs' defense was at this point too?
I don't really think I even looked at their defense and see how exhausted they were.
Because you're just grinding on them
because
all
we're just,
afternoon.
everything is working. Everything is working. It's 7, 8, 9, 10 yards a clip, and like I said, another easy walk-in touchdown. And I can remember like watching that game and running off the field, and my buddies Cornelius and Darryl come up to me, and I think Cornelius says to me, you can watch it, like it's on video. He comes up to me and says something to me like, "Can you believe what you just did?" I'm like,
did you have any frame of reference?
Huh?
Did you have an idea on how big
I
a
did
day
not.
you had?
I did not have an idea of how many yards I had or anything. I mean, because I don't, I never looked at the scoreboard or never even.
I mean, you knew you got in the end zone 3 times.
I
but
knew
other
I
than
got in the
that-
end zone 3 times, but other than the yards and like how many carries I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was one of those days like I could have had 25, I could have had 45. It was just one of those days where every time I had a feeling of a running play, it was going to work.
So you're 186 rushing yards, second most in league history in a championship game at the time, and you tied a championship game record with your 3 rushing touchdowns. When did you realize how big your day was? In the locker room, post-game interviews, going home in the car?
I didn't realize like how big of a game that I had until like when I got into the locker room. O.J. Simpson, rest in peace, said, "You're talking on the stage this year." He's like, because usually, when they're awarding the AFC Championship game, it's Jim, it's Bruce, it's Cornelius, it's the head coach, it's Bill Poley, and I was never like, "Nah, I'm good over here, I'm good, And he said, "You're going up there this year," and that was actually my first time after all those AFC Championship games, getting the interview right up on the stage where Mr. Wilson was and everybody. So that was kind of when I realized, and OJ told me that you had 33 carries, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns, caught a couple of passes, and he was like, I was like, well, I just felt like like the offense needed me.
Yeah.
For that day against a team like Kansas City.
Kind of like a stamp of approval almost. A really special day in this building for sure. And do you kind of think about, because at that point in time, the Bills were a team that the rest of the country was starting to get tired of.
Right.
I still remember the sign that was in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
After you guys won the game, it said, "We're back.
Yeah.
Deal with it, America." Like that. It was a very well-known sentiment around the country, and Bills fans got hot about it. And I think Marv even used it with you guys to say, "Hey, let's tick everybody off and go back again."
It was,
right?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, and I think it was, I can remember the crowd after the videos came out and like piss them off and go for 4, something like that or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, sure. If I'm a fan and the Bills, and really though, but if you really look at it, it was because of the last 2 years that we played in the Super Bowl. We didn't do well against the Redskins, and we got demolished by the Dallas Cowboys 52-17. So, yeah, obviously you're thinking, nobody want us there. But you know what? Let's piss everybody off and let's go for 4. And so, that was like, and we knew, Marv Levy knew, and the players knew that, like, there's never, ever been anybody to reach 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right.
So that was the carrot.
That was the carrot hanging out there, So.
All right, so we're going to wrap up here with this thing we call first thoughts. I ask you 3 questions. You give me what pops in your head first here. So you already outlined to some degree that you thought you could be successful running the ball? Did you guys feel like you could be that successful, like over 200 yards by the end of the day?
No, we didn't think we didn't think that we were going to be that successful.
Okay.
We didn't think that we were going to be that successful. I think maybe 150 yards, 140 yards total between me, Kenny, and I. That would be, if we got that number, we still thought that we'd have an opportunity to win the football game.
Okay. Question 2, did you feel in winning that game that destiny was telling you that your 4th trip to the Super Bowl would be the one that went your way?
Absolutely. Because we pretty much demolished a very good Kansas City football team.
Yeah.
And we were going, again, to play a team that we were familiar with, the Dallas Cowboys. So, we were very confident going into, that 4th Super Bowl that we can win it.
Yeah.
With this team, that's the only way you think.
Yeah.
That was the only way you think because of the leaders that we had on our football team.
Yeah.
It was like, no, we're not going here to go 1-4. We're going here to finish out 1-3.
Yeah.
That was our mindset.
What about your teams of that era give you the greatest sense of pride?
I think one of the things that I always talk about, especially when I'm with other people that didn't know that Bills team, and I'll go through and point through Jim, I talk about Daryl, I talk about Bruce, Marv. I have conversation with people about that. And the one thing that I really, really, truly understand and love these guys for all the things that we went through, not one player has ever pointed the finger at another player and said, "Oh, it was his fault or whatever." We've never, even with Scott Norwood, because you can hear.
Well, even right after that game, nobody was pointing the finger.
Nobody
at
was
Scott.
pointing the finger because you would hear Daryl say, "Oh, if I make that tackle on 3rd down against Mark Ingram, pretty much game's over." Bruce, man, if I'd have stripped the ball out of Hostetler's hand in the end zone, that could have turned into a Super Bowl. So it was always something with the guys that they relayed to each other. Like, I could have did this, I could have did. And that's one of the things I really love about these guys is that, you know what, we all made mistakes in the Super Bowls or whatever, but there was never, ever, again, that bickering Bills that we had. It was motivation, team together, no matter what.
Awesome stuff. Thurman, thanks for the time and for the memories of what many consider your greatest playoff performance, and it happened right here over our shoulder 31 years ago. Sorry if I made you feel old there.
Yes, you did.
We hope you enjoyed this look back at the 1994 AFC title game. For Thurman Thomas, I'm Chris Brown. We'll catch you next time here on Games to Remember.